it's Friday the 15th of January and I'm here today with our daily thought. And today we're looking at Acts 21 and we're reading from 37 through to 40. And then we're carrying on through chapter 22 from verses 1 to 13. So let's begin. As the soldiers were about to take Paul into the barracks, he asked the commander, "May I say something to you?" "Do you speak Greek?" he replied. "Aren't you the Egyptian who started a revolt and led 4,000 terrorists out into the wilderness some time ago?" Paul answered, "I am a Jew from Tarsus in Cilicia, a citizen of no ordinary city. Please let me speak to the people." After receiving the commander's permission, Paul stood on the steps and motioned to the crowd. When they were all silent, he said to them in Aramaic, "Brothers and fathers, listen now to my defense." When they heard him speak to them in Aramaic, they became very quiet. Then Paul said, "I am a Jew born in Tarsus of Cilicia, but brought up in this city. I studied under Gamaliel and was thoroughly trained in the law of our ancestors. I was just as zealous for God as any of you are today. I persecuted the followers of this way to their death, arresting both men and women and throwing them into prison, as the high priest and all the council themselves can testify. I even obtained letters from them to their associates in Damascus and went there to bring these people as prisoners to Jerusalem to be punished. About noon, as I came near Damascus, suddenly a bright light from heaven flashed around me. I fell to the ground and heard a voice say to me, 'Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me?' 'Who are you, Lord?' I asked. 'I am Jesus of Nazareth, whom you are persecuting,' he replied. My companions saw the light, but they did not understand the voice of him who was speaking to me. 'What shall I do, Lord?' I asked. 'Get up,' the Lord said, "and go into Damascus. There you will be told all that you have been assigned to do.' My companions led me by the hand into Damascus because the brilliance of the light had blinded me. A man named Ananias came to see me. He was a devout observer of the law and highly respected by all the Jews living there. He stood beside me and said, 'Brother Saul, receive your sight.' And at that very moment, I was able to see him." So here we have Paul addressing the crowd. He's been given permission by the commander. And we see that he meets them where they're at in terms of trying to come to some common ground by addressing them in Aramaic. And that surprised them, that silenced them. We've got a mob who's hungry for him to be arrested. They're trying to get rid of him, but he manages to meet them on familiar terms by using their own mother tongue, which is very wise. But we've also got the commander who said a very unusual thing. And he says, "Aren't you the Egyptian who started a revolt and led 4,000 terrorists out into the wilderness some time ago?" Now, I haven't checked this out, and I probably should have before recording this, but it's quite bizarre if he's talking about Moses, because that would have been hundreds of years ago. But if it is that they're talking about Moses and the Israelites, then calling them terrorists, wow. They really had quite a low view of the Israelites. Obviously, this is a Roman commander that we're talking about, but yeah. So you can see Paul he's got it from all sides, and he's trying to meet them, as I've said, where they're at and try to defend the way and what he's doing there. But recounting what happened to him on the road to Damascus, where we're familiar with the story, he's blinded by a great light, and this is the conversion of Saul. But what struck me, we read this morning in our youth Bible study, we read Genesis, where it talks about God saying, "Let there be light." And we also read John 1, where it talks about Jesus being the true light. And I'm just going to read John 1, verses 9 to 13. And it says, "The true light that gives light to everyone was coming into the world. He was in the world, and though the world was made through him, the world did not recognize him. He came to that which was his own, but his own did not receive him. Yet to all who did receive him, to those who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God, children born not of natural descent, nor of human decision or a husband's will, but born of God. And yeah, I was just reminded of that Jesus appears to Paul as light, as the light of the world. But it also talks about his own not recognizing him, his own not receiving him. And it's tragic. It's really sad that the Jews have got all these prophecies that they've been brought up with, and yet they still missed him. They still missed Jesus coming and appearing to them. And it's just, I think, what I shared this morning was making sure that we know who we're looking for. We know we're being prepared for Jesus coming back again, and making sure we're ready for him coming back again, knowing the signs, knowing our word, and being ready for when he does come back again. But also just realising that, he is the light of the world. He does shine on absolutely everything and everyone, but also he gives us that light so we can be that light that draw people to himself too. So it's that responsibility for us to shine as brightly as we can in this dark world too. Have a lovely day. Bye.